Good morning, everyone. Leah Dixon here from Port Coquitlam, British Columbia. I am live this morning with my regular Wednesday morning video. This is a card class to go. So how this works is every Wednesday I come on, I present 3 cards, and then with a $60 purchase, that's Canadian before shipping and taxes, you can actually get a make and take kit to make 2 of each of the 3 cards that I demonstrate today, as well as a printable PDF and a link back to this video. And then with a $70 order, I actually throw in a package of embellishments this week. It is the basic rhinestones that go with these cards. Hi, Kim. Thanks for joining. So I am super, super excited about our cards this week. They're using the Best Day stamp set. This is a stamp set from our mini catalog, and it is unfortunately retiring. But it'll be staying on my shelf, that's for sure. It's so cute. So I'm going to switch over to my desktop and give you a little tour of the stamp set and some of the products we're going to be using today. All right, here we go. So this is the stamp set. It doesn't have any coordinating dies or anything. It's just got these 2 fantastic little images and then some fun little background stuff and 4 sentiments. I love the wishing you all the wishes. It's just the perfect sentiment for any celebration. All right, so that is it. And as you can see, I have my blends lined up on the side. This is a very bright, fun, rainbowy card class. And so I have Melon Mambo, Calypso Coral, I believe this is actually So Saffron. It is. This is So Saffron, which is retiring. So you're going to want to grab that one quickly if you like to have a nice soft yellow. I did kind of compare it to our new Lemon Lolly that's coming. Lemon Lolly's quite a bit brighter. So Saffron is a blend that you're definitely going to want to grab. Granny Apple Green, Pool Party, Highland Heather, and Smoky Slate. So all the rest of these are current and staying current Stampin' Up! Blends. All right, so I'm going to move that out of the way, and we're going to bring in our first card. So the paper I'm using on all of the cards today is our Happy Forest Friends Designer Series paper. So I am using the patterned side of these papers, but these are actually all, the other side has like little forest scenes and bears and little things like that on them. Some nice greenery. And what else have we got? Yeah, the little scene with the bears and everything. So some really, really sweet designer series paper. I just happen to be using only the patterned side for today. So that is what we've got going on. This designer series paper is also retiring. I'm going to be really sad to see it go. It's super sweet. All right, so I'm going to put that up off to the side. And let's get started creating. So pour out all the contents of our envelope here. We have a thick basic white card base to start with. And then the first thing we're going to do is just glue our designer series paper onto our piece of Pool Party. So you just want to try to create equal stripes for the edge, the center, and the side as you glue these down. And if you don't get them exactly equal, it's not really going to matter. We're just creating those 2 colors on our card front. So I always like to use liquid glue when I do this kind of gluing, because that means I can kind of wiggle it around and get a best fit. There we go. I also like to use the wide end of my glue stick so that I can take a little dot of glue and spread it out. I find you really don't need that much glue to hold a piece down. All right. Now this is a square, but I want my lines going in a horizontal zigzag. So that's how I made sure to put mine down on the page. Okay, there we go. Now this can actually get glued straight to our card front as well. This is such a fun card layout because you could do this with any designer series paper, any stamp set, any sentiment. Okay, so we've got that on there. You've been trying to use the wide end of the glue. It takes a little bit of practice. It's how I was taught to use those glue sticks like back in kindergarten, so I had a lot of years of practice. So now that we've got that done, and this might freak some of you out, I'm now going to stamp on this card. If that's totally not your thing, then maybe do your stamping before you glue everything down. But this is just kind of how I roll. I kind of build from top to, or from bottom to top. So I'm going to ink up my sentiment. And then I'm going to place this down here in the bottom right-hand corner, just like that. So stamping right on the DSP, right on your card. And that's it. We're done for our sentiment. So I can put that off to the side, pull in this extra piece of white that I've got, and this is where we're going to stamp our little kitty cat. And I'm using Memento black ink for that as well. All right. So there's our little kitty cat. And now we get to play and color him in really however we want. There's no rules to this. So I'm going to start with my dark Melon Mambo and just give the tip of the balloon and the little accent on there a little color. Then I'm going to use the paintbrush tip of my light Melon Mambo and color in my balloon. And I'm going to color over top of that area where they've put the accent just a few more times. All right, it gives our balloon some really good shading. And I am kind of going to work down this rainbow, I think. So my next thing is to grab my Calypso Coral, and I'm going to use the paintbrush end. No, actually, I'm not. Sorry. I'm going to use the fine tip end, and I'm just coloring all the little stripes on our kitty cat. And his little hair up at the top. Okay. I realized I forgot his ears and his nose. So I'm going to come back in and grab my light Melon Mambo, do his ears, his nose, and his bow tie. There we go. But like I said, make this your own. So you don't like the colors I'm using? That's fine. Use your own colors. So I'm going to grab the dark Pool Party, and I'm going to put a little dot on each of his eyes, just that very center piece. And I'm also going to color the little bauble at the top of his hat and the center stripe on his hat. Okay. Then I'm going to grab my light Pool Party, and I'm not going to color inside the polka dots, but aside from the polka dots, I'm going to color the whole cupcake holder, whatever these are called, cupcake liners. I'm going to color the whole thing in light Pool Party. All right. There we go, just about done. All right, so there we go. We have our whole thing colored in light Pool Party, and then I'm going to come back in with my dark Pool Party and go over the lines that are like the folds on our cupcake holder. There we go. And again, it's just giving some interest to our cupcake liner, just some little extra details. And then I'm going to use light smoky slate to color those polka dots. I love pool party and smoky slate together. It is how I would decorate my whole house if I could. And I'm also going to use that smoky slate for the rest of his hat. There we go. So that is our cat completely ready to go. So next thing, last thing, is to fussy cut him. I'm sorry, guys, there's no dies for him. But fussy cutting him is not too bad. I am going to keep a very thin border on him, though. I really don't want a white border too much around him. Hello, it just says Facebook user. You can always sign in with StreamYard and then I'll see your name, or you can just pop your name into the comments and then I'll know who is joining me. Thank you for being here. I hope you're having a great Wednesday morning. I'm kind of over the weather, but I guess at least it gives me an excuse to stay inside and stamp all day. So we're going to cut around this balloon. And when we cut around the string for the balloon, I'm really not cutting too close to it. We don't want to accidentally cut it in half or whatever, or make it too thin. There we go. And as I cut, I do like to remove kind of the bigger chunks so that they're not in my way as I'm trying to cut other bits. Okay. Here we go. Go around this little one. And you'll notice it's my paper that I'm actually turning, not my scissors. All right, just about done. The top of our kitty cat's the trickiest part. There we go. Sorry, I have trouble talking and cutting. Awesome. So there is our kitty cat. Oh, hi, Diane from Timmins. Oh, and Annette from Blaine. Awesome. The cardstock that I'm using currently is just regular cardstock. I tend to use just the thick for my card bases. And then regular for everything else. All right, so now that we have him fussy cut, the hard part's done, we're going to grab some mini dimensionals for the balloon, and then a regular dimensional for his head, and then I'm actually going to put 2 down in the bottom. Okay, he's not coming off of our card. So I've got the mini there on his balloon. We'll peel the backing off of that. And then 3 on his body. And we're going to pop him on here. Now I'm popping him down at the bottom. I don't want him to cover my sentiment, but I do want him to kind of come right down so that we don't see where the DSP meets the cardstock at the bottom here. And then our final thing for this one is, they're over here, is to grab some basic rhinestones and embellish. Now, let's see, I might have to open a new pack. Here, we'll pull this one out. There are 3 different sizes of embellishments, and so I'm kind of trying to, well, yay, I get to use up this pack. I had 1 large one left in this pack, so we'll use that up. Now I can get rid of that, yay. And then we've got mediums and smalls as well. So I'm going to, come on, oh my goodness, there we go. I'm going to throw a small one there, and then I'm going to steal a medium off of this one. And put that over here maybe, and then 2 more smalls. And see, I go through phases where I use like a lot of one size and then not a lot of another. So there. So just kind of random sizing, no real rhyme or reason to it. And that is our first card, all finished with all those fun little embellishments on there. I love a good rhinestone. It just is the perfect way to finish up a card. All right, so that is our first card. Our second card is a little bit messy, but really, really fun. So we're going to pull this one out. Oh, I'm sorry. I forgot to decorate our envelope on that last card. Let's just put all this off to the side for a second, and I'll show you a really cute way to decorate this envelope. So we're actually going to get our kitty cat back again. And I'm not even going to bother wasting like any good, what's it called? Masking tape. I am just going to actually grab this stamp. I'm going to ink up the balloon. And yeah, I got some of the cat and everything. And I'm actually going to cover up most of it and just stamp this little balloon onto my card envelope. There we go. Just one lonely little balloon. And we can come back in and grab a few more of those. Same thing, remove that sticky note. You could do it the other way, but then you get a whole bunch of black blobby stuff on your sticky note. So I prefer to just do it this way. And I'm just going to throw like maybe 3 balloons there on the bottom corner of my envelope. Okay, and one more. I'm trying to get rid of the top of the hat and his little hand as I do this. There we go. All right, 3 little balloons down in the bottom corner, and then we can quickly color them. Now, I know that our original balloon I just did in Melon Mambo, but because we've got 3 here, we can have a little bit of fun and do 3 different colors. So I'm going to do one in Melon Mambo again. And then I think I'm going to do a pool party. There we go. Yeah. Pool party balloon. And let's see, what other colors did we really have in there? We had the gray. I'm not going to do a gray balloon. So let's do a Calypso Coral balloon because we had Calypso Coral on our kitty cat. There we go. And there are our 3 little balloons on our envelope. So it's just kind of a fun little sneak peek of what's coming without giving away the cute cat in the muffin liner. So there is our envelope all decorated. I know, isn't that Rainbow of Blends beautiful, Greta? Love it. All right, so our second card, you'll notice there's actually no rainbow going on here, but if you've seen the sneak preview, the background's all rainbow. I'm going to do that with just 3 inks. So you don't have to have a whole rainbow of ink as well, which is really, really nice. We're going to grab this one piece of paper, and it's kind of a smoky slate background with basic gray like plus signs on it. Now, I don't want to ruin my background so that we have to stare at the messy rainbow for the rest of the video. So I'm actually going to bring out an extra scrap of paper, and we're going to do this. So I'm going to start with Daffodil Delight, and I'm actually going to blend that across a really good chunk of my paper. So I'm going to leave a little space here for some pink, but then I'm going to color here the area that I want to be orange, the area that I want to be yellow, and the area that I want to be green. So I'm leaving enough space here for some very small, apparently very small purple and very small blue. Might have done too much yellow. That's okay. So this is just Daffodil Delight across a very good chunk of my paper. Now, with that done, I can put that away. I am going to grab my Melon Mambo, and I am going to put that onto this cardstock where I want my Melon Mambo and where I want my orange. Okay, and then to kind of soften that, I am going to do more of a straight line instead of circles. Okay, so that's done, and then I'm going to put just the tiniest bit over here as well. Okay, so we've got Melon Mambo going on both ends. And then we are going to finish up this rainbow with some Tahitian Tide. Grab my blending brush for my Tahitian Tide. And my Tahitian Tide, I can start right down at this end because I don't want that pink there. I want it to turn purple. We're going to turn that purple, turn that blue, and then come in and get as much green as we would like as well. Okay. So could have done a little bit less yellow to allow my purple and blue to be bigger, but that's okay. We've still got the full rainbow there, even if it's not in equal quantities. So we just created our full rainbow with just 3 colors. It's your basic red, yellow, and blue, but we got a little creative. Use Melon Mambo instead of red, Daffodil Delight, and Tahitian Tide. And I absolutely love the rainbow it creates. So with that done, we can start putting our card together. I know, isn't that fun, Kim? So much fun. So this rainbow, we are actually going to mount it onto a piece of basic gray. Kind of goes with those pluses or crosses or whatever that are on that paper already. So I'm going to use liquid glue again to do that. And just grab that dot and drag it along. So yeah, we really don't want a lot of glue on our paper. If you use too much, you can actually end up seeing it, especially through a thinner DSP. So you really want to use that flat end to spread it thin and create just a very, very light layer. And I just go around the outsides, like there's no glue on the insides. All right, now we're not going to glue this down yet. We're actually going to do some fun work with this is the silver and gold. Oh, darn it. I always forget what it's called. It's a combo pack that's available right now only in our online exclusive. So you get the silver and the gold together. And let's see, I actually have a chart over here. Oh, there we go. They just call it gold and silver trim. That's an easy name for it. So I've got gold and silver trim here from our online exclusives. And I'm going to kind of cheat. I got a really small piece here. It's just barely bigger than the width of my paper. And we're going to, let's see, I would like this up in the yellow because I did too much yellow anyway. So between the yellow and the green. So right about there, I am going to put a little strip of Seal Plus on the back. And then with that in the right spot-ish, I am going to come in here and tuck that behind so it sticks in that Seal Plus. And then I'm going to, oh, come on. I'm going to wrap that across so it's straight and tuck it behind so it sticks in the Seal Plus. So I've now just attached it on the back. It's loose on the front. I can put another piece of trim underneath it. So it's not attached at all on the front. It's only attached on the back. Now, before I do more with that, I'm actually going to put it onto my card base because it's going to be easier to work with if we do that. So now I'm going to glue this down to my card front. Okay, and I am going to glue it down. Obviously, you have a little bit of extra Seal Plus there on the back, so you don't need to put glue over that. Let the Seal Plus do its job. But there we go. We grab our glue. We pop that onto our card front, and I'm just trying to keep an equal border on the three sides. So top, bottom, and left-hand side have the same border. And then the right-hand side obviously has a bigger border there. Okay, I'm going to save that other piece of trim until we finish up the rest of our card, and then we'll attach it later. All right. So now the next piece that you have in here is actually a stitched rectangle. Now, you guys, these are retiring. I believe they're actually on sale, and I should have double checked that. And today is free shipping. So if you want just a really nice way to create a rectangle with a little bit of interest with that stitching on the edges, these are the dies for you. And today is the day to grab them. You'll get your free shipping with an order over 60. You'll get this card class with an order over 65. I actually also send out a tutorial bundle. This month it's 52 projects in the PDF. It's wild, huge. And then with an order over 75, I'm also throwing in a package of the rhinestones. So today is your day. Hi, Gail. All right, so on this stitched rectangle, I am going to stamp this awesome happy birthday cake. And now I do want to kind of work to get this one centered top to bottom, left to right, because we're not cutting it out. We are using it as is on this piece of paper. So try and do it right. All right, beautiful. So there is our happy birthday cake. And now we just get to play and color it in. Now, I know I always say I'm not like a huge fan of coloring, but when it's this kind of coloring, it's all small spaces, I actually don't mind it. So start at the bottom, light smoky slate. And you want a really light touch here, partially so it doesn't bleed across the lines, and partially because you're doing these little scallops at the bottom of the cake. And so the lighter you are, the easier it is. All right, there's our smoky slate across the bottom. Now I'm going to take my light Pool Party, and I am going to color in the middle and bottom of our cake. So again, quite light because we're working with that little scallop edge, and quite light down here because we've got the tops of the icing to deal with. Okay, there we go. And then down here, I'm going to try not to go over these circles. So I'm going to try to go around them. If you do color over top of them, it's not the end of the world. The colors we're using on them are quite dark, and it won't really be affected by it. There we go. So we've colored our cake. While I have my Pool Party out, I'm actually going to grab my dark Pool Party with the thin tip and color the top half of my birthday banner with my thin tip dark Pool Party. Okay. And then I'm going to use my wide tip light Pool Party to color the bottom and the top. There we go. And it just creates like a nice little blend, like almost like an ombre effect on that birthday banner. Okay, So that's what I did with the birthday banner. Now we get to start to have some fun with our colors. I am going to start with Dark Melon Mambo, and I am just coloring the top of the H, and then I'm going to grab my Light Melon Mambo and color the rest of my H, and then kind of go over top of where the dark was to blend it together. And if you hadn't already guessed, we are going to repeat that process for our letter A, but with Calypso Coral. I'm going to use the fine tip actually on this one. Okay, and then you just really want to go over where the two meet so that they blend. And again, with Daffodil Delight, or no, sorry, So Saffron. Okay, and these letters are pretty thin, so I do recommend using the finer tip, not the wide tip. All right, and then our Granny Apple Green. And then I am going to skip the blue because there's so much blue on the cake, and come in and just do a Highland Heather H on here. There we go. And skip the blue. Highland Heather H or Y. Oh my goodness. We're in the alphabet. Good thing grade 2-3s already know the alphabet. Okay. There we go. All right. There is our happy colored in. Now, the last thing to do on this cake, you can do any way you want. I did do crazy rainbow dots and everything. I don't know why. So I actually kept it a little bit lighter, though. I used my light Melon Mambo, not my dark, for down at the bottom. And I kind of like went, okay, if that one's red, orange, yellow, green, blue. No blue. Orange, yellow, green, purple. We'll put a red over there. Orange, yellow, green, purple. Orange, yellow, red, green, purple. There we go. So just kind of spread them out. Oops, and I did the bottom as well. So start with that as red, and there's the 4 others. There's the 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, and there's the other red. All right, and then down here I kind of gave it 2, and then 1, 2, 3, 4. Oops, 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Perfect. So I tried to kind of spread them out so I didn't end up with like everything starting red to purple. So then I kind of came in and did these dots and these stripes and these dots. There we go. And we just cycle through now. For the So Saffron, I did use a darker So Saffron. And that should be, I'll do that one. There we go. Like that. And so it's just kind of cycling through. I did use light Granny Apple Green, not dark. And green, 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 green. There we go. And then our purple. And again, I used the light for this one. And filled in all the last little bits here. There we go, there we go, there we go. All right, so that is our cake completely colored in. So it takes a little bit of time, but it's certainly worth it to create such a fun, bright birthday cake. Now we're going to flip him over and put some dimensionals on the back. Definitely one for each corner. And then if you're like me, I don't like the saggy middle, so I'm going to put some in the center as well. That's just going to make sure that it stays popped up in the center. All right. So we're going to take that and kind of try and center it top to bottom and give it a little border here on the side. All right, now we still have this piece of trim. This is where we're going to tuck it under. And we're going to tie a bow. Now, I'm not tying a knot before I tie my bow, so I'm going to kind of center it, make 2 bunny ears, and cross them. I didn't want to add the bulk of tying a knot first. So we're just doing that. And once we get the bow the size we like, then we grab our scissors and we give it a little snip to trim down those edges, or not edges, the ends. Okay, you can keep yours as long or as short as you'd like. I just always make sure mine don't stick off the side of my card. It doesn't fit very well into an envelope if they're sticking off the side of the card. All right, and then we grab our rhinestones and start decorating. Oh, not having good luck with this tool today, so I'm just going to use my fingers. There we go. And I am using mostly small ones on this cake today because there's already a lot going on. I really don't feel like we need, actually I might use 1 medium on here. But I really feel like just a tiny sparkle is good enough. All right. And that is our second card finished. So lots of color on that one. We started off with all gray and white, and we ended up with this gorgeous, gorgeous rainbow. Now, to do this one for our envelope, we've got a few choices. You could, oh, I'm sorry. I forgot the last little bit. I forgot to put our sentiments on the inside and our little decoration. So let's grab our piece of basic white that is in your kit. I just saw it sitting on the side of my desk. I'm like, oh, what's that for? We're going to grab our sentiment, wishing you all the wishes, and our little like sparklers. So I'm going to use Pool Party for our sparklers. That is the color of our card base. And I'm just going to stamp them down in the bottom corner. And then I'm going to grab Memento black ink and grab our wishing you all the wishes. And that I'm going to stamp inside the card. Now, because I package these up to sell, I also always try to stamp it at the same time as I'm stamping my card onto a little sticky note that I can then stick onto the back of the envelope when I package them up in my clear envelopes, so that people know what it says on the inside, because there's nothing worse than getting a card home and realizing there's words inside that you didn't know were there. So I always do that for when I sell these. All right, so wishing you all the wishes and my little sparklers. And now those little sparklers, I'm also going to do onto my envelope as soon as I glue this inside my card. So this layer just gets a little bit of liquid glue and pop that inside. There we go. So wishing you all the wishes. So sweet. Okay, so that's done. And then let's grab our envelope. And for the sparklers on our envelope, I kind of wanted fun and color and brightness. So instead of using balmy blue, I was actually going to start with my Daffodil Delight. And I'm going to ink up. I should probably clean that. It has Pool Party on it. There we go. I'm going to ink up just 2 of my sparklers in Daffodil Delight. And then I'm going to ink up the first one that didn't get any ink in Melon Mambo. And then I'm going to add a little bit of Tahitian Tide to one of my Daffodil Delight sparklers. And those three little guys are going to get stamped on there, and they actually are Melon Mambo, Daffodil Delight, and like this lovely green. So just a little bit of rainbow fun on the front. Now, if you wanted to have all the colors on there, you could then go ahead, and this time around, I'm only going to do two of my sparklers, and I'm going to do them both in Tahitian Tide. And then I'm going to come back in with Melon Mambo and ink up just one of them with some Melon Mambo. I think you know what will happen when I do that. And then I'm going to stamp these down just a little bit lower. And there we go. We've got our purple and our blue added in there as well. So just kind of fun little sparklers happening in the corner of our envelope. All right, and our last card for this card class is so sweet. All the little hearts, hearts in red, hearts in gray, and all the little bits. So I'll pour all that out. Oh, and the card base. There we go. That's everything. All right, empty envelope. Oh, my camera's going a little crazy. Sorry, guys. So we have our thick basic white card base, and we're not going to glue anything to it just yet. We're going to grab a few of these pieces and layer them together before we do any gluing. So I'm going to take my hearts, and I'm going to glue them right onto that piece. So there we go. Liquid glue. For this one, make sure you stay away from the stitching, because this is both pieces again have been cut with our stitched rectangle dies that are retiring, and the glue could, never actually had it happen, but the glue could kind of come through the stitching. So I was trying to stay away from the stitching. All right, with that on there, I'm going to take this little piece of So Saffron and I'm going to glue it across there. Okay, maybe actually a little bit higher, slightly below halfway. And if it doesn't exactly fit, it's okay, because a good chunk of this is actually going to be hidden. So if you have to choose an end to let some extra So Saffron hang off, you can choose to let it hang off that one side. You could even trim it off as well, which is actually what I think I'm going to do. All right, so I've got all that. I'm going to grab my snips and trim off my extra So Saffron. So I just turn it upside down so I can see where to trim. All right, and then with that done, we're going to do that little ribbon trick again. So there's our longer one. We're going to take the shorter one that's just long enough. And now on this one, you can see that the two sides are different. I'm actually going to use the side that shows us the trim with almost like a little white inside. That's the side I want showing. So I'm going to just generically line this up so I can see where I want to put my seal. And I'm going to put some seal on the back of this. So with that done, I'll double check that I've got the trim side showing. If you don't like seeing the two gold lines with the white centered, you can do yours the other way. I did mine the other way when I used my silver. But I kind of like this. All right, and with that across there like that, we can now glue this to our card front, and we want to try and center it. Okay, so again, just a light layer of liquid glue. Like almost so light you can't see it, It really doesn't have to be thick to hold well. That's why I love the liquid glue. It's such a strong hold once it has dried, but gives you the wiggle before it has dried. There we go. Okay, so that's done. Now we're going to, again, hold off on that piece. We're not going to tie our bow yet. We're going to get to work on all of our little bits here. So we have a pool party square. Oh, good morning, Ellie. We have our pool party square. We're going to grab the fun confetti stamp and our pool party ink. And we just get to have a confetti party all over this piece. And I'm just kind of turning it around and stamping it everywhere. Even the parts that I know are going to get covered, I'm just stamping them because then if they're peeking out, it's all good. Okay, so confetti party has happened. We're going to have a second confetti party all over our envelope. So what I'm actually going to do with this though is I'm going to tuck it inside a piece of paper. Let's move all this out of the way. I tucked it inside so that even over here is protected. Everywhere is covered except for the flap of my envelope. And then we are going to go wild with confetti over here too. And like let it fall off the edges and just do all the things. Now I am going to quickly clean this. I've noticed I've got a little edge happening that I don't want. Okay, clean that up. And we'll keep having our confetti party here. And so I do just keep turning it a bit so that we don't end up with the same confetti falling in every spot. And we're just going across. And a few more. There we go. All right. Oh, let's fill in this top part. Get a little swirl in there and a little swirl in there and a little one over there. All right. So there we go. We have our little confetti party all over our envelope. Yeah, it's a handy way to decorate your envelopes, Ellie. Yeah, the tone on tone is really nice sometimes just because a pattern like this could be so busy, especially with the busy DSP that we already have. So doing tone on tone just kind of helps us create the visual interest without being overwhelming. Okay, so now we have to stamp our kitty cat and our sentiment. So we're going to grab our cat again and ink them up in Memento again. I've seen people ink these with other colors. For certain things it could work, but I feel like when you're going to be coloring them like we are, the Memento black is just your best way to go. So you've got your cute line drawing and then you can add all your own colors to it. And before we go into coloring, let's get our sentiment done. So I do want to grab my embossing buddy from my Embossings Additions kit and put that across. So that's just going to remove any like finger oils or anything that might be on there. And then I'm going to get my Versamark ink and stamp my sentiment using Versamark. Now, I actually do find this easier to do if I do it vertically. And I can just do this anywhere because I'm going to be trimming the ends. So you just really want it straight on your paper. That's kind of the only goal. Straight enough. Good. So then I grab my white embossing powder and I just scoop this through and get embossing powder all over that. Tap off the extra. Make sure I get the whole thing covered. Tap off any extra. And I'm just going to take a quick look at it. I do see a few tiny pieces I want removed. They're too tiny to deal with a paintbrush around them. So I'm actually going to grab my take your pick tool and I'm going to use it to either pull them off the page or push them into the lettering. Like this one, I'm just going to push into the Y. And same on the inside of this P. I'm not going to try and lift it out. I'm just going to push it in so it joins the rest. There we go. So by doing this and picking up those tiny little pieces, you just end up with a crisper, clearer image when you heat emboss this. All right, so now we're going to grab the heat tool. And this is pretty tiny, actually. So I'm also going to grab my reverse tweezers that come in the Embossing Editions kit. And we're going to heat this up. There we go. All done. So we have our happy birthday all heat embossed, and I can grab my paper snips, and I'm just going to trim out my ends. There we go. All right, so that's created. That's done. That's done. Now we just have to color and fussy cut our kitty cat. I'm actually going to start with my light pool party. And I'm going to trace, and I'm using the big thick paintbrush end. I'm not being super slow and careful about it. I'm doing a very fast, as wide as I can, trace of light pool party around my kitty cat. What this is going to do is when I cut him out, it's going to not have that white edge because I'm not putting him on a white background. I'm putting him on a pool party background. I don't want him to stand out in that way. He's going to stand out because he's cute, not because he has a white border. All right. Now I'm going to grab the tiny end of my dark Calypso coral, and I'm going to do the balloon, the center of his bow tie, and the tip of the balloon. That's it. Then I'm going to take the wide end of my light Calypso coral. I'm going to color in my balloon, blending where I put that dark Calypso coral. I'm going to color in my bow tie, and I'm going to color in all the polka dots on my cupcake. There we go. Love light Calypso coral. One of my favorite oranges. All right. Oh, and sorry. I'm also going to do his nose and his little ears. There we go. So that's all of our light Calypso coral. Now we're going to grab our light. We'll start with our light So Saffron. And we're going to color our whole cupcake liner. Oh, I'm actually going to use my other tip because my light So Saffron tip is a little worn out. So I'm going to use the pointed one. And we're going to color all of that. There we go. All right, so that's colored. Now we're going to grab our dark So Saffron. I'm going to color the top of his hat and the center of his hat. Oh, sorry. Okay, and then I'm also going to go over all of those lines on the cupcake to accentuate the folds. There we go. Now we'll grab our dark pool party and the thin tip because it's a small space, and we're going to color in the rest of his hat. There we go. Oh, sorry, and his eyes. There we go. And finally, we are going to color our kitty cat. Oh, thank you, Ellie. Now, you don't have to color your kitty cat gray if you don't want to. I just thought we've got the gray hearts there and everything. Let's add a little bit of color to this instead of leaving them white. So I used my light smoky slate to color the whole cat. I even colored over the orange on the ears, and then it kind of fades through and creates a muted orange, but I did not color over his nose or his eyes. Okay, here we go. Keep coloring. So to avoid getting like lines, you don't really get lines when you use blends, but definitely to avoid it entirely, I do circular motions and I try to stay in spots and go over them again while they're still wet. Because these are alcohol blends, so they do stay a little wet while, like, before they dry. And so as long as you kind of go over them before they've dried, then it blends really nicely. If you go over it after it's dried, it'll blend a little bit, but not nearly as well. And then I'm just using my dark gray to come into his eyebrows and his little accents. Now, if you ever do this and you're like, oh my gosh, I did them too dark, we do have a color lifter that you can use. This does not remove the color, but it lightens the color. So it's always a nice little tool if you go, oh no, he's too dark. All right, so he's all colored. We'll do our last little bit of cutting. Now, for this one, I am able to leave a bigger border than I did on the last one because I have that pool party that's going on to the pool party, so we can be, yeah, we can just have a little bit of a wider border, be a little less careful about that cutting because we're going pool party on pool party. So I get a little less detailed. At the top of this hat, I'm not kind of doing all the curves. I'm just doing a big circle, making sure I stay within my pool party that I colored though, so I don't get any white spots. But yeah, definitely it's a quicker cut than when we don't do this. There we go. Speedy, speedy. Okay, so now that we've got that, we're going to start attaching these things. So I'm going to attach him to this, and I just want him coming up a little bit off the top. So I am going to glue him down, but I'm going to use just seal, and I'm not going up too high because I want those hanging off the edge and I don't want adhesive behind them. Oh my, that's not even, there we go, just the tiniest piece there. Okay, so put him down centered with his little balloon and hat kind of going off the top. There we go. And then this piece gets put onto our card front, and I want it going like over the red, over the yellow, off the red, and we're going to attach that with dimensionals. If I have some, there we go, dimensionals. So I am just going to cut up my borders and use those. Throw a little piece in the middle, throw a little piece in the corner, couple corners. Oh, it's stuck to my hand. Oh, and I need one more. So I use all the parts of my dimensionals. So now I'm using up my edging. So it doesn't look as nice on the back, but whatever. Nobody's seeing this side of the card, except for you guys while I create it. All right, so let's get in here and line them up where I want them. Awesome. So he's on with dimensionals, and then we're going to attach our happy birthday, but we're just going to either use a little strip of seal or a couple of mini glue dots because I don't need dimensionals or anything. I'm just attaching it lightly to the pool party square. Okay, so I'm actually just using little tabs of Seal Plus. I do like Seal Plus because it comes off in those little tabs, and then if you get too much, you can just fold it back in. And I want this going just slightly off and covering up the bottom of this cupcake. There we go. All right, nearly done. Now we are going to tie our bow. So same thing as before, tuck that under. I'm not going to create a knot. I am just going to create 2 bunny ears. Oops, come on. And wrap them around each other. And tighten that up. And the nice thing about this is you can slide it to wherever you want it. And then trim it. And finally, we add our embellishments to our card. So I'm going to grab this, grab my Take Your Pick tool, and yeah, why not? We'll use a large one, a small one, and how about a medium one? All right, there we go. And just add those embellishments onto our card. And our third card is complete, and we already have that adorable little decorated envelope to go with it. So I'm going to bring back in, I'll just move these over, then we'll go much further. Oh, my rainbow's out of sync. There we go. So I'm just going to bring in all of our cards from today's card class so you can see the full card class. And there we go. So there's all 3 cards from today's card class. So with a $60 order, you get the Make and Take kit to create 2 of each of these. So you end up with 6 cards, just like I have here. And with $75, you get the rhinestone pack as well. And if you order them today, you get free shipping on orders over $100. So it's definitely a good day to place an order with Stampin' Up. It's also a great time, you guys, to stock up on things like envelopes, cardstock, and especially that liquid glue, because there are going to be some price increases on May 2nd with the new catalog. The glue, I think, is the most significant one. It's going to be going up $2 a bottle. So definitely, I placed an order early this morning and stocked up on glue. It's also on low inventory, so I needed some. Can't be without my glue. So definitely consider that. If you need any help placing an order, contact me. Otherwise, the link is in the description of this video and all over my blog, stampinwithleah.ca. So you guys have a great day, and we'll see you all later. Thanks so much, LA. Kim, have a great day. Bye.